Hello, this video is about nouns. You've probably used the word noun before, and you may know that it's the word that we use for any type of word that identifies an object or a thing or an idea. Nouns come in several different varieties. The first one I want to talk about is the common noun. Common nouns are used to identify common things. If you look around the classroom in a typical lesson, you may see 15 or 16 tables. Tables like this are nothing special. School tables do not have individual identities. We don't think of one as being any different to another one. So they are common nouns for common things. And you've been using words like this since you were a toddler. Probably one of the first words that you used was mama or dad, or you might have referred to teddy or a drink. Very young children learn to use nouns quite early. They struggle more with things like verbs, but they don't need to use those straight away. First of all, they tend to want to point at things that they can see and ask for them. So, table is a common noun. Proper nouns are different from common nouns. This is a common noun here, bear. We don't know who this bear is, we don't know what his name is. He probably doesn't have a name. He's just a bear, any old bear. But this bear is Paddington Bear, and you can see that Paddington Bear has a name that begins with a capital B and a capital B. And that's because it isn't just what he is, it's who he is, and it's how he's different from any other bear. It's the quality of being unique that makes a proper noun different to a common noun. Here are some examples. Queen Elizabeth, and you can see here, she is a unique queen. She's the only Queen Elizabeth in England at the moment. It's her identity. But these four queens, they're just any old four queens in a deck of cards. This would be wrong, because each of these queens is just one of millions of queens in decks of cards all over the world. You don't think of them as having a unique identity of their own. They aren't unique. There are four of them just in any deck of cards. And we don't know which one is being talked about, so they're all being lumped in together, and they're not being spoken about or written about as though they were special. But Queen Elizabeth, everybody knows who you're talking about when you say Queen Elizabeth. And you can see her here having a lovely time at the races. She's a special person that people know about, and they know when you say Queen Elizabeth that you mean her. And that's why her name has to have a capital Q and a capital E. She's the only Queen Elizabeth ruling England at the moment. Here are some more examples. Proper nouns. Africa, Mr. Beavis, the Forest School. All of them having a capital letter for each part of that name. Even words like the and school become capitalized when they are part of a longer name. These are common nouns for very similar things. If we just say, oh yeah, he went to school, you don't have a capital S for school because it could be any school. A man walked down the road, well, which man? No particular man, no capital letter. Which country are we talking about? We don't know, so there's no capital C for country. It's just any old country around the world. I want to introduce you to one more type of noun. Abstract nouns. Abstract nouns are nouns which give names to things that can't be seen or touched or felt in a physical way. They are things which exist only in our imagination or in our mind. They're emotions, most of them. We often use symbols to show emotion. This is a fairly typical symbol for hope. It's a bird in flight. We tend to use symbols for things that can't be seen. Nobody can really draw a picture of hope itself. It's an idea that exists in people's minds when they feel hopeful about things. And jealousy. when you look up jealousy on the internet, this is the sort of thing that you find. Little faces expressing things, because you can only imagine that emotion when you think about the characters that experience it. So jealousy is an abstract noun, and so is hope, because they're feelings that exist in our minds, but they don't exist in a tangible way. You can't detect them with your senses. The opposite of an abstract noun is a concrete noun. You can see a picture of Forest School here. Well, school is a concrete noun. And potato, that's a concrete noun, because these are things that exist in the real world. So potato, that's something that you could see, you could touch, you could even eat it. It exists in the real world, and it's very much a concrete noun. School, well, you know this place, you can touch it, you can see it, you can hear it. It exists in the real world, and it's very much a concrete noun. Staying with potatoes for a bit longer, another way of looking at nouns is to say whether or not there's something that you can count. Now, you can see here, there's a picture of some potatoes. 3 potatoes. You can count them. 1, 2, 3. Now, if you were to take one away, there would be fewer potatoes. Not everything can be counted in that way. Some things are substances which tend to be doled out in sort of fluid amounts. You mash those same potatoes, and what you get is a non-count noun. You can't really ask for 2.5 mashed potatoes. You probably could if you did it beforehand, but once they've been mashed, you can't really count how many potatoes there are in any portion on that plate. It's an amount, like you would get of custard, paint, sand. You don't really count those things because they can't be counted. You think of them as substances. Well, in that situation, you would ask not for fewer mashed potatoes, but less mashed potatoes. You would ask for some mashed potatoes, not 3 mashed potatoes. So some things can be counted and some things can't be counted. Non-count nouns are things which can't be counted. Next video will be about pronouns. Thank you.